Alrighty, so we've got a very interesting fight here. So it's Leonardo Santos versus Grant Dawson. Alright, so Leo, he's 41 now. He's, getting quite up there in age. He's undefeated in the UFC. He's 7-0-1 with, like 8 fights, 1 draw, 7 wins. He's got a 2-inch height advantage over Grant and a 3-inch reach advantage. He's got a good frame for the division. For Grant Dawson, he's 4-0 in the UFC, 5-0 if you're including the Contender Series. And yeah, he's moving up from 145, which is fair enough. I guess he's got a fairly big frame for the division and he's quite a solid bloke. But yeah, moving up from 145, so you expect Leonardo to have the size advantage here. Alright, so let's get into the striking of these two. Alright, for Leo, so he's really good at controlling the range, especially on the front foot. On the back foot, he can be pressured a little bit, but especially on the front foot, very good at controlling range. For Grant Dawson, his stand-up is pretty much just coming forward, looking to push you back onto the cage, pretty much, and then, look for takedowns off that. But he has a decent outside calf kick, which is definitely his best weapon in his stand-up. For Leonardo, he's looking to circle to his right to kind of walk you onto his straight right. He's looking for a good angle on that straight right. It's definitely his money maker. And he keeps his lead hand outstretched to gauge. Range, and then he's pretty much just looking for the counter straight right off that once he has your range. For Grant Dawson, he's got that Philly shell defense. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but it's what he has, and he's not Mayweather with it, but it's serviceable at least. Leo also has some really nice kicks. When he's versing an orthodox fighter, he'll go for low calf kick. When he's versing a southpaw fighter, he'll go with the body kick, which is really nice weapon of his. I would expect him to go for the leg kicks in this one, as Grant Dawson is, kind of coming forward, predictably. But that's just, Grant Dawson's style is going to come forward, put the pace on you. For Grant Dawson, he, a few things I don't love about his stand-up is that he can close the distance quite recklessly. He doesn't set up his power punches. His head doesn't move pretty much at all from the whole fight. His hand's low when he's throwing kicks. He seems to be off balance on the feet often. He seems to be quite uncomfortable on the feet. But also, if you hit him good, he'll back up in a straight line, or if you put the pressure on him, he'll back up in a straight line. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so we'll get into the grappling of these two, where it gets real interesting. For Grant Dawson, a lot of his style is based around his wrestling. He'll shoot for a single in the open. He'll get that head on the outside single, run the pipe from there. He's got very good single leg. For Leonardo Santos, he has, a nice outside leg trip from the clinch. Generally, he likes to keep it on the feet, like lately, in his fights. But yeah, he has them in his back pocket. For Grant Dawson, once he gets you to the mat, he looks to take the back, especially when the opponent, gets on all fours, turtles up, or whatever you want to call it. And generally, because he likes to stay in half guard, he has one of the hooks in already to take the back, so as they turtle, which is good. And he's very heavy in mount, so once he does get in a dominant position like half guard or mount, he's very heavy. Half guard isn't dominant, but the way he uses it, you might as well call it that. And yeah, he can be a little loose in top position. That's why his takedown rate is so high, especially in his opponent's guard and half guard when he hasn't passed yet. For Leonardo Santos, he when he does get in top position, he'll look to advance to dominant position, either at the back or mount, pretty much immediately. He'll also take the back, very proficient at that when his opponent turtles up. But yeah, so he's very good jiu-jitsu practitioner on the mat, but when he does get tired, he can be controlled, which is getting shorter and shorter. His gas tank's getting shorter and shorter these days. It doesn't get better as you get older. But yeah, so for Grant Hill, that's the fucking basketball player. Grant Dawson, he has a nice crossface, shoulder pressure that he'll use to kind of assist in the guard pass, kind of controlling the head. Where the head goes, the body goes. Learn that first day of jiu-jitsu. And then, he'll use that to pass guard on the other side, pretty much, of where he's controlling the head. Once he does get the back, he locks up a body triangle to secure the back mount. But yeah, so for Grant Hill, a few things. Oh, fucking, why do I keep calling him that? For Grant Dawson, a few things that he does on the mat is he will place his hands or elbows on the mat. It kind of allows the opponent to isolate an arm easily when Grant's sitting in their guard. He definitely doesn't want to do that against Leonardo Santos because he'll be quick to lock up something like that. I think Derek Minner caught him in a few of those attempts from bottom. I can't remember. I did this one a while ago, but yeah, he's very susceptible towards it. Also, he will leave his head or his neck outstretched when he's shooting for a single at distance. Definitely don't want to do that against Leo, who has a very good guillotine of his own right. But yeah, so how these guys win their fights. For Grant Dawson, he has that constant pressure that breaks opponents, constantly coming forward, doesn't really care what you hit him with. He has an exhausting pace as well, and once he does get on top, he has very aggressive ground and pound. For Leonardo Santos, he's legitimate BJJ black belt. He subbed GSP with a flying knee in under 30 seconds or something like that. Crazy. He's got very high level jiu-jitsu. And yeah, he has a bit of power in his straight right. Seen him knock out a few dudes with it. He has good takedown defense, especially on the fence. But it can wither away once he does get tired. But pretty much the basis of his takedown defense, he gets that overhook, looks to shuck off, and then keep it on the feet. Very interesting how he likes to keep it on the feet. I guess he's just more comfortable there now, and he trusts his gas tank on the feet a little bit better. How these guys lose? We'll start with Leo. It's the cardio, which is the big issue. It's pretty much gone by the third round, and he has super low volume as well, and yeah, it still goes by the third round pretty much. But he also can be controlled, can be neutralized on the fence. He has good takedown defense on the cage, but he can just kind of stall there and let his opponent stall there as well, and then let him get a few points in the judge's eyes. For Grant Dawson, just the grappling tendencies we talked about earlier, the palms on the canvas and also the neck sticking out could get him in trouble in this one. His hands, his striking, his boxing, is probably, I would say, on par with Ben Askren's. It's not good. And the tendencies that we talked about on the feet that he has, but also I'm not really sold on his chin. I think, he doesn't react to punches very well, good punches. He seems to do some, he seems to get really uncomfortable once he gets hit. But yeah, he seems a little stiff once he gets hit, and also his whole face changes. It's we'll see, because it'll get tested here. So past the victory for these two. So for Leo, look for that counter 2 as he's throwing, if Grant Hill's going to throw any boxing combinations. Look for the counter 2 if he's going to throw a leg kick. He's just open every time he throws some offense. And don't be afraid to go for that blast double. If Grant's going to square his hips when he's advancing, he does that quite a bit. Also just leg kicks at distance. Catch one of Grant's kicks, try and take him to the ground. But yeah, you can have your hands pretty low for this one. I'm not too concerned about the power coming back from Grant Dawson. So you can just kind of have your hands low, get your underhooks. Just kind of have easy access for the underhooks, because he's going to be shooting, I'm guessing, once he feels a few of Santos' straight rights. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about the offense coming back from Grant Dawson. But also, if he takes you down, look for the triangle, look for the armbar, look to control, elbows, all that kind of stuff. For Grant Dawson, look to clinch him up on the fence early, just kind of wear him out. Teeps to the body at distance, forward pressure, just general aggression throughout the whole fight. Takedowns, just be very cautious when throwing down the straight ground and pound punches that you throw. Just be cautious of not doing the things that we talked about earlier in the grappling tendencies. But yeah, so just be very vigilant on the ground. So for how I see this one going, very interesting match here. Leonardo's supreme talent, but will likely gas after 1.5 to 2 rounds with the pace that Dawson puts on him. But yeah, will that be enough? In my opinion, I think it will be enough. On the feet, I think Santos hurts him bad. And on the mat, I don't believe, Grant will be able to get Leo down until Leo's very tired, which is after 1.5 rounds pretty much. Even then, he's not going to be comfortable on top. Like, Leonardo, very accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu player, and he can just lock up arm bars and triangles with ease. Like, we've seen it. So yeah, I just don't think there's going to be a point of comfort at all in this fight for Grant Dawson. But yeah, I think Santos gets it done, and I think he gets it done early, or does enough early to win on the judges' scorecards. So yeah, I think Santos probably subs him round 1 or 2. So yeah, my opinion is I think Santos wins this fight at least 65 to 70% of the time. For Grant Dawson, 35 to 30% of the time. But yeah, the gas tank is the only issue. But skill for skill, I think Santos wins easily. So we're looking at the line. It's a pick'em. Fair enough. I was kind of expecting a line like this, but I believe Santos is a much better mixed martial artist than Grant Dawson. Like skill for skill, I believe he's much better. So yeah, I think he gets it done early. Anything over $1.70, in my opinion, I'm gonna bet Santos. So, imagine if I get him as a dog. But yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty confident in Santos. I think he wins it quite easily. I might have a look at the inside the distance lines if it's like $3, $3.50, something like that. But yeah, so interested for this one. Should be a good fight.